Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because it's something that I've been wanting to film for a very long time and I just haven't gotten around to filming it till right now. So there are lots of videos going around YouTube. I think it's like a bit of an older trend now where you ask people to send you pictures of their bookshelves and you roast them or just kind of critique them, look at them. And I do want to do that video as well. But for right now, I'm actually going to be roasting my own bookshelves, but I'm going to be roasting my bookshelves throughout the years. So I've taken many pictures of my bookshelves throughout the years since discovering booktube, and so I've got pictures dating back to the beginning of 2014 up until the most recent rendition of my bookshelves. So this is bound to be very interesting and I'm really excited to kind of show you guys the evolution of my bookshelves, kind of make fun of the older ones at least. I'm really excited for this video. So if you are also excited, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe down below if you have not yet already. But without further ado, let's just look at my bookshelves. But the first picture I have is from January 2014. So this is what my bookshelf looked like. So only the first two shelves of the bookcase actually had books on it, which is why they're the only ones photographed here. I believe the other ones had like magazine holders full of like old schoolwork and I don't even know, like just like decor items, I guess. I honestly don't remember too deeply what was on the rest of the shelves, but the top two shelves had books on them. And this is literally right after I discovered booktube. I believe I discovered booktube maybe in like November, December of 2013. So I'm looking at the shelves and I don't yet see the influence of booktube. I don't see any books on here that I found specifically because of booktube, but it's just so funny to see what books are on here. One, what books are still on my bookcase today and which ones I've since unhauled or put somewhere else. It's just so funny to see the evolution. Like, there's a lot of paranormal books on the shelf and not so many like contemporaries, which really shows how my reading tastes have kind of shifted since joining booktube. The only like non-fantasy books on this shelf are like some childhood favorites up on the top shelf in the middle, my Anna Green Gable books. There's Miley Cyrus's like memoir book that she wrote a million years ago, Miles to Go. Still love that book. And then there's like some Nicholas Sparks, Perks Being a Wallflower on the second shelf. Like, it's mainly like dystopian or fantasy, paranormal. Like, there's some Pretty Little Liars, so there's some mystery in there. A lot of these books I no longer own because I don't like them. Like, I don't have Twilight on my shelf anymore. I still own it, I just don't have it on my shelf. I don't own Beautiful Chaos or like the Evermore series. I don't remember what that series is called. I don't have Pretty Little Liars. Like, it's just wild to like see what is on this bookcase and like what's no longer on my shelf. Let's talk about the organization though, because that's kind of what we're here to roast a little bit. I mean, we can also roast my book taste, but the organization here is pretty much non-existent. It's completely different to how I organize my shelves now. As you can see, like, there's a bunch of different heights going on. Like, there's no height order here, which really bothers me to look at because that's just not how I like to organize my shelves now. And it's honestly not how I've liked to organize my shelves for a very long time. I feel like most of my like bookshelf organizing history is where I like try to match the heights to each other to keep it all even and nice looking. But it's all mismatched here. But there was like some instances where I would separate series if they were in different formats and then some where I didn't. Like, there's the Kelly Armstrong books on the second shelf and those are all different formats but they're all together. But then I've separated Beautiful Creatures and Beautiful Chaos. The first and third book in the Beautiful Creatures series, they're separated on completely different shelves. So not even just like within one shelf, like they're on different shelves. The Pretty Little Liars books are in different spots. It's very odd how I've decided to organize this. I also have movies on the shelf. We have The Hunger Games and Pitch Perfect. Don't really know why I decided to display those on my shelves. Yeah, it's kind of a mess. I'm not loving this at all. You would never catch me having my bookshelf looking like this now. This is just, it's not giving at all. Let's move on. So we are still in 2014, but now we are in July of 2014. This photo, you can tell exactly when it was from just because of the Instagram filter that is on it. I don't even know what filter that was, but that was a common filter that I would use on my photos. So you can see that because of booktube, my collection grew a lot. My organization also got a little bit better, and I also brought in some childhood favorite books into the shelf that were not previously on the shelf. They were in my basement. A lot of the books though are still the same, but it's a better height organization now, which is how I do it now. So I guess I've been doing that primarily since 2014. Like, it's not perfect here, but it's definitely better than it was. Yeah, I hate that bottom shelf that you can see. It's got like Archie comics and like my One Direction books. Not loving that vibe. I'm seeing some more books here. The Fault in Our Stars has finally like made an appearance. Dorothy Must Die, which is a book I was obsessed with in 2014. Yeah, I don't know, like overall this organization is a lot better than it's been in the previous videos, but it's still not up to par, okay? It's not what I would like now, but it's still like just like the single little bookcase. And it's like, it's so wild to see how booktube has like completely influenced me and changed the trajectory of my life as a reader, because I don't know if I'd have this many books if it wasn't for booktube, or I at least wouldn't have the books that I do have. I'm just so grateful to booktube. I really am, because it's introduced me to so many great books, and I love my beautiful book collection. So I just love seeing the beginning of it, but this is not giving what I want it to be giving. I think the next photo I have is from August of 2014, which I think is like not too different from the previous one, except we have the addition of a small little bookcase next to my big bookcase. Still doesn't look good. It's also messy. Like, tell me why I have like a candy like container on the shelf. Tell me why there's a weird Minion stuffy on one of the bottom shelves. There's just like a lot. There's a lot of little things going on. It looks like I got maybe even better at the height organization. Was Divergent in the last photo? It was. Okay, so we're in the Divergent era as well. Yeah, so it looks like the height order is a little bit better, although there's just like weird like smaller books, like mass market paperback kind of size going on in that middle shelf. Yeah, this is still just not giving. And since I had like extra space, clearly, I don't know why I didn't think to display any covers. Maybe that wasn't something that I was aware of yet, to like fully display a cover. I do have Demi Lovato's quote book displayed, but not a whole lot more going on. Like, if I were to do this now, I'd probably display 12 the Boys, because I do see 12 the Boys on there, or Since You've Been Gone. I'd probably display one of those. If I'm thinking back to the time that this was taken, I probably would have wanted to display like a Divergent book, or maybe Cress or Dorothy Must Die, just because those are the books that I was like heavily obsessed with at the time. And I can't really see too much of what's going on the other bookcase. And then we have another photo from August of 2014. This was a time in my life where I was constantly reorganizing my bookcase. Like, I think it was like every week, every other week I was reorganizing it. Like, everyone in my life was like, why are you reorganizing your shelves again? And it's like, I'm never satisfied with them. And obviously now that I have more books, I organize it less because it's more of an endeavor, and I also I like how I organize my books now. I've got it all figured out, and I have enough books to do what I want to do, so I don't have to like experiment as much as I used to. But this is already looking better than the last one. I've learned to display books, so I'm displaying The Rising by Kelly Armstrong, which is right here. Still looking back on this though, that's not the book that I would have chosen, like that I would choose now, I guess, to display, because it's a real person on the cover, and that's just not my thing. My question to myself is, why is The Giver at the very end of that second shelf, just on its little lonesome next to Cress? Like, that does not belong at all, and you would not catch me dead putting that book in that position now, because like, why? Like, why wasn't it on the other side with books that were more in line with its height? Why is it next to a hardcover? Like, that's just like a personal preference of mine, is like how I organize my books between format and like height sizing, and that's really odd to me. I don't like that at all. I think I was doing this by genre, actually. I wasn't paying attention to how I was organizing it in the other photos, but it's definitely by genre here, because we got like all like the paranormal fantasy books at the top, continuing into the second shelf, and then we have some more like dystopian mystery books, Anne of Green Gables, and then it looks like it's mainly like contemporary on that next shelf, and then again still like Archie comics and whatnot at the bottom, still with that really weird Minion stuffy. I no longer organize by genre. That's just not my favorite thing personally, but I do like it for this. Like, this isn't the worst. This is probably the best that it's been so far out of the pictures that we've seen, but still not amazing. Okay, so now we're in 2015. This is when I started my booktube channel, a couple months after. I started it in March of 2015, I think, and we're in May. So This one is where I finally got the skinny bookcase. That's right there. And it's beautiful, okay? Like, yes, there's some faults with how it's organized, but I don't know, this was such a moment to have this skinny bookcase. I remember I built it with my friends. On the skinny bookcase at the top, I do see my TBR jar. Back when TBR jars were a huge thing on BookTube. I do think some people still do a TBR jar or some form of like a TBR challenge type thing, but that was my TBR jar that, let me tell you, I never did successfully. Like, I never used that thing. It was purely just me jumping on the train of everyone's doing it, so I'm gonna try it too, and I never used it. And if I did, I probably did not read the book that I picked out of it, because I'm just such a mood reader. Like, if you tell me what to read, I'm not gonna read it. But I definitely did a better job, I think, at the height organizing here. It looks a lot more unison, small to taller, and I did get better at choosing what books to display. Oh my god, yeah, this is like very beginning of my channel, because if you look like near the bottom, you can see my stack of library books, and these are books that I talked about in my very first YouTube video, which was my library haul. Like, Legends there, Throne of Glass is there. Like, that is wild. That's wild. Oh my god, A Darker Shade of Magic is there too. That had just come out and I really wanted to read it. I did not read it at that point. I read it in 2019, but I did check it out at that point. That's wild. Oh, it's like a little time capsule. We've got like a kind of like a little classic shelf happening with Anne of Green Gables and Peter Pan, and I think just like some smaller, like shorter books. I think The Wizard of Oz is on that shelf. It's a very cute shelf. Like, I think that one is really cute. I took the hat off my Anne doll to put on top of the stack of books, which I think was a really cute idea. But you know what? This one to me is more aesthetically pleasing than it's been. But the bottom of the bookcase, now that's that's a different story. I have these blue bins that have books I think I was unhauling in them. I've got a magazine holder down there, my yearbooks are down there, and just like some extra like childhood books are down there at the bottom. So it's not like the most aesthetically pleasing. For the longest time, the bottoms of my shelves were never aesthetically pleasing because I just didn't have enough books to kind of put down here, I guess, or I just didn't want to put them down here. I don't really remember. But overall, like, I'm pretty happy with this one. I don't have too many complaints, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, we are in 2015 again. I don't know what month this was from. Definitely seeing a lot of influences from BookTube here. We've got the Shadowhunter books, we've got Shatter Me, The Summer I Turned Pretty, Red Queen, ACOTAR. Like, it was that era of BookTube where those books were first coming out and just blowing up. So again, it looks like I really have mastered almost the bookshelf organization of the short to tall, which is what I've really stuck with. Like, I really said this is how I want to organize my books and just never changed my mind, because that's still how I organize my books. So this one is looking better, but I also have a Nicholas Sparks shelf, which is something that I would not do now because I no longer like want to support him in his books. We still have the Archie comics, so I still don't have enough books at this point to completely fill up these shelves, but I do have some books on that bottom shelf now, but it's also with all of my DVDs, which again, I would never like display my DVDs on my bookcase. That's just not my vibe. Okay, so now we have added a new bookshelf. We're in 2016 to 2017. I couldn't remember exactly what year this was from, but it was somewhere in that range. Finally have quite a few books now. Like, it's a lot more filled. I don't think there are any movies displayed on this bookcase. But yeah, this was right after I reorganized the new bookcase. Fresh picture, and I know that because there's nothing on top of the bookcase at the very top, and I always put stuff up there, so I literally must have just reorganized it. This one is definitely like more reminiscent of how I do it now, for sure. Like, if I were to see this picture now and like not really look that closely at it, I'd be like, yeah, like that looks like something I would do now. Of course, minus the entire Harry Potter bookcase. We're just gonna ignore that. This is when I separated the bookcases by genres. The one bookcase had fantasy-esque books on it, sci-fi, things like that. Basically anything that wasn't set in the real world or like wasn't contemporary. And the other shelf is like mainly contemporaries or some non-fiction books. Oh, this must have been 2017. Okay, this was probably January of 2017 because I see 2 arcs on there that I got at an event at the beginning of 2017. So I guess I don't have a picture for 2016. I have no idea. So I did the 2 different bookcases with different genres. I remember I did do that for a little bit, but I didn't like it for too long because I do remember changing it, I think, shortly after this. But we do have some great books displayed. The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, Wonder, Winter. I've got the whole Lunar Chronicle series now, which is nice to see. My only like complaint here with how I've decided to display the books is it's not very like symmetrical looking. Like I have Empire Storms displayed, and then a couple of books later is Heartless, and I wouldn't do that now. Like I would try to space it out more, so I probably would have tried to display a book at the other end of that shelf, or just put Heartless at the other end of the shelf, because really it didn't need to be at the end there. Like it could have been at the other side. And then like having Lady Midnight directly underneath it is also not a vibe. Like I also would like that to be kind of separated a bit more. Like I do try to have some symmetry with where I display books if possible. Again, Carry On and Furthermore are just a little bit too close together for my liking. The general organization of like tall hardcovers at the top, going down into regular hardcovers, and then paperbacks at the bottom. That's kind of how I've been doing it, I guess, since 2017. Oh my goodness. Okay, we are getting real now. We're in May of 2017. My Disney Beauty and the Beast figures have made their entrance because I bought them in May 2017. So this must be a fresh organization. Although, tell me why I would take a picture of my bookshelf when I have a Pepsi bottle. I have my speaker with my iPod attached listening to music, and like the cord's just dangling. I have a cup on my shelf. Like I know this shelf is always like a nightstand, kind of like I always have glasses and like Coke cans here. But if I'm taking a picture and presumably posting it somewhere, showing somebody, why do I have those there? Why didn't I put them on my bed just to get them out of the way? But yeah, it looks like I'm still sticking with the different genres on the different bookcases. So this one, I don't really have much to say because it looks pretty similar to what it looked like in the last picture. Just like some different books displayed, less books displayed, you know, different things going on. Okay, and this is where I made some choices and I stuck with them because like this is where I started to reorganize less and less and started to like get stuck in my ways, which like on one hand is like, is that kind of boring? Maybe, because I'm not really ever trying like too many new things. But on the other hand, it's like I like what I like, and so if I figured it out, I'm not going to change it. Like, don't fix what's not broken. Okay, so I don't know which one is the first one, so we're just going to show this first 2019 photo. So this one is, you know, it's pretty good. I have the Marissa Meyer shelf, which I forgot that I had on the other side originally, because it's on this shelf now, but it was on that shelf. That's wild. I forgot that I completely forgot that I ever had it on that shelf. I wonder why I moved it. Oh, I think it's because I wanted to be able to see it when I was sitting on my bed, because shelf is harder to see. And this is where I think I was getting inspiration from Emma Books for my organization. I have books horizontally stacked, and then I have books vertically stacked on top, and that's something that she was heavily doing at that time because she was just running out of space. So that's just how she would organize her book, and aesthetically I really liked that. So I did that on the Marissa Meyer shelf. I did that on like that random middle shelf where Zenith is, and I did it with Sea of Shadows and Empire of Night, which I remember being obsessed with that little section of that bookcase with all those dark colored books, and I had it organized like that for a long time. I don't know why, that's still so aesthetically pleasing to me. But yeah, I don't mind the books that are displayed. They're good, they're in good places. Yeah, again, I don't really have that many complaints here with how it's organized. Obviously I can't fully see those bottom shelves. Yeah, I feel like I'm just gonna have less and less to say because like I like this. I would still organize my shelf like this for the most part. Okay, so I have two pictures from August of 2019 that are fairly similar. They're just like two slightly different variations of this one organization method. So this is a full picture of the bookcase, so that's good. We finally have the Anna Green Gables specific shelf. I brought back the Anne doll, which I love. She didn't always fit on the bookcase. I've got my copy of the Archived that's displayed. These shelves are pretty similar. Like, it was only recently that the Shadowhunter books kind of shifted down, but Shatter Me and like the Raven Boys are still all on the same shelf. The Anna Green Gables shelf is still there. It's just grown and changed a bit, but it's still on the same shelf. Like, a lot of these are still like in the same kind of spots. This is very aesthetically pleasing to me. I don't see a whole lot wrong with this. I don't love the stuff at the very top. Like, that's where I decided to put all my Archie comics and like my One Direction like non-fiction-y type of books. It just looks very like heavy on that side, whereas the other side just has Funko Pops on it. So a more balanced look, if I'm being nitpicky, would be nice. I don't have that many complaints about this one. Okay, so I have some photos from April of 2020. I have Serious Moonlight just sitting there. I don't know why I didn't put Serious Moonlight back on the shelf for this photo. There's also like a bunch of books sitting on the bottom here, which I think I must have been reading those books, but like that whole shelf is like in disarray. It's just like falling over. So again, like for photo purposes, I don't know why I wouldn't have just like cleaned it up quickly. This does not look too different from the 2019 photo. Okay, now we're in February of 2021. Yeah, it looks like I'm running a little bit out of space at this point because I've got like huge stacks of books on the bottom shelf back here, which these shelves are usually the ones that I will like stack the highest when I'm running out of books. Like this one's getting pretty bad. But yeah, there's a huge stack of books there that I would prefer not to have. Like it's right here. Like I much prefer having just the Soul Screamers books stacked there. I don't love how I put that like stack of books horizontally with the vertical books. I don't like how that's in the middle of the shelf, especially since the Anne of Green Gables like similar looking stack is right below it. I think it would have looked a lot better if I put that stack to the other side, which is where I think I typically have it. So I don't know why it was like randomly in like the middle of the shelf. So I think that would have looked way better balanced if it was just like moved to opposite ends of the shelf. Overall, not many complaints about this. A lot of it still looks relatively the same. Okay, so now we're in January of 2022, and this is very aesthetically pleasing to me. Like you can tell that I primarily read YA contemporaries and romance books because it's very bright. There's a lot of bright colors going on here, and I do feel like I do a good job of like interspersing the dark colored books with the lighter ones. I just feel like I'm good at that. I'm gonna toot my own horn. I feel like this looks really good. And again, it's not too different to how I organize it now. I don't often reorganize my bookcases, and if I do, it's not usually a huge overhaul. It's just like, you know, moving some books around and some shelves around. I've got my V.E. Schwab shelf for the first time here, which I'm obsessed with. I've got the 2 Marissa Meyer shelves now. It has extended. Yeah, I like this. I like the covers that I have displayed across the board. I like the Winnie the Pooh that you can just kind of see at the bottom there. I do like how this looks. Okay, I think we are at the last photos. So we are at the most current rendition of my bookshelves. I took these literally just like a week or 2 ago. The shelves have not changed since then. So this is what my bookshelves currently look like. So I have an extra small bookcase at the end there that now has books on it, which is really exciting. I'm obsessed with how my bookshelves look right now, which is why I'm so sad that we are moving into my grandma's house for a year and I'm not going to have all my bookcases and all my books. So I'm really trying to soak them in because I love them so much, and I'll often just sit on my bed and stare at them. So at least I'll have this photo to look at to remind me of how beautiful they are. I love the way it's organized. I really love how I organize going all the way across the shelves. Like it's not each individual bookcase, it's all of them as a whole. I really do think of them as like one big like bookcase, I guess, like one big library. So we have all like the taller hardcovers lining the top, going into more regular size hardcovers until we eventually get to like the paperbacks and the mixed books. This is my favorite way my Anne of Green Gables shelves have been organized, I think. Like I just have so many editions, like it's ridiculous. Like there's 2 shelves for them now, and I absolutely love them. My only like complaint, I guess, about the way my bookshelves are currently organized is this bottom shelf is just a little bit overstuffed because I have so many paperbacks, because I've been getting a lot of ARCs from publishers in the last couple of years, and I've gotten more paperbacks than I normally would have. I've also been buying more adult romance books, and so that just, you know, makes the paperback shelves larger. So I just have more paperbacks than I normally would because I do prefer hardcovers. So I think that's like my main complaint, but I do love this little shelf. This is one of my favorite shelves, the one with all my like friends books, like people that I know. So we have Alyssa C's books. I have her 2 ARCs on that shelf. I've got Talk Flirty to Me by Livy Hart, and then I have all of Sophie Sullivan's books, and I've just got like all little like trinkets from my friends' books, like bookmarks and like whatnot. I adore that shelf, and I cannot wait for it to grow with more Livy Hart books and with Rachel's book, The Library of Shadows, coming out this year. I'm so excited for all of the books that I'm going to be able to add to this little friendship shelf, and I'm so grateful to have the bookshelves that I do and the books that I do, and to have seen my collection grow so much. Like it used to just be this bookcase, and now I have 5 bookcases, and I just love them so much. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think it definitely turned more into like reminiscing and walking down memory lane of my bookcases, more so than me roasting them, because I love my bookcases, and it's hard to like be critical of them, especially like more recent years, because I've really like honed down how I organize my books and how I like to have them organized. But like even with like the older ones where they are a bit of a mess and they don't look the greatest, like they're my bookshelves, and it's like nostalgic to look at how they used to be and how few books I had, and it's interesting to see what books were on the shelves at the beginning of my booktube career as to what are on them now. Either I unhauled them or I've just like added to them. It's wild. Like, this is all because of booktube, okay? Booktube made me do it. I blame booktube. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said at the beginning, give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts on my bookshelves. Roast them if you will. Be gentle though, I am fragile. Also, let me know if you were around when my bookshelves looked how they did at the beginning of the video. Like, let me know if you were there from my very first video. I would love to know if you guys were there from the very beginning. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this for 8 years, and that's just absolutely wild to think about. And so this is just like a fun, this is a fun way to just look back at all my books. I kind of wish I had done it for my 8-year anniversary back in March. That would have been so cute to do, but I guess we can say it's for the 8-year anniversary. It's just a little delayed. But yeah, make sure to subscribe if you have not yet already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.